excellent job by Illinois' Abby Mueller. I'd like to warn you that there's no relation between the Abby Mueller of Illinois and the Amber Mueller of Central Michigan. Just same names, two different people who decided to name their kid an A name. So here's Adriana Bustello. Bustello, a sophomore, a fellow Ohioan. You always have to give shout out to those Ohioans, especially that come into Mount Pleasant, Michigan, dismount, and that will get extra cheers from her Chippewa fans. Bustello competed in 9 meets. She was named to the MAC All-Championship team, and you see right there, straight up and down vertical, and you see Hannah Demers in the background. That's what they're looking for. They're going to take off points if you are angled any sort of way, and there's the dismount. Stick the landing, hit the pose, smile on her face. Adriana Bustello. 9.75 for Mueller. Here's Reyes, and she did an excellent job. We'd like to welcome you to McGurk Arena for the regular season debut of the Central Michigan Chippewa 2022 regular season. Once again, we would like to truly apologize for some technical difficulties on the audio end, but we are back and better than ever. Adriana Bustello just competed on the bars. Ashley Veglucci set to go next. We should tell you a little about these two teams. Central Michigan 12-9 last year, 6-3 in conference play. The bars was sort of a weaker event for the Chippewas. They finished in the top 35, but they were led by Kennedy Johnson and Hannah Demers. Demers qualified for nationals in this specific event, but they are returning most of their starters. So here is Ashley Veglucci. Ashley Veglucci, competed in 10 meets last year. Her career high is a 9.825 on the bars, and through the start of it, looks like she could hit that or set a career high. Reish's vault was a 9.675. Central Michigan took rotation 1 after the lead, and a beautiful landing dismount by Ashley Veglucci, once again getting cheers from her team. And you saw from the start of that replay, straight up and down, stick the landing far away from those bars. That is very well done for Veglucci. We'll wait to see her score. Julia Waite, the sophomore from Naperville, Illinois, will start or be the third vaulter for Illinois. Taking off for the Fighting Illini. Takes a little bit of a step back, but otherwise an exciting score. The Central Michigan team, it's sort of a weird combination. They return most of their seniors, but the depth is something that has been an issue. They have an exciting freshman class. You saw Quinn Skrupa and Ava Anthus make their collegiate debut in the vault. I had some great commentary on it. You'll just have to trust me on that one. And here is Savannah Kodas. In that exhibition, Kodas had a routine break as it was really a cause of her hand sliding over the bar, but she ended strong. It was an exhibition between Michigan, Western, and of course Central Michigan. Michigan won the event, or the meet, sorry. Central Michigan got second and Western got third. Kodas getting ready to go. 5 meets last year, 10 meets in 2020, had a 9.85 on bars, and we're just waiting for Veglucci's score. Her career high, Veglucci, in the bars was a 9.825, actually gets a little bit lower, 9.675, so both Reesh and Veglucci, 9.675. Central Michigan won the first event. Vault is a little bit easier to get higher scores. Bustello would beg to differ, as she is the highest score out of everyone that has gone, with a 9.8 on the bars. Here's Kodas. Now all we're waiting for is the dismount. And an excellent dismount. Most of the team jumping up and down for Kodas. Cool calm and collected. You have to go from the top bar to the bottom bar back to the higher bar before your dismount. Right there has that strong handstand. Little bit of a curvature, so they will dock a bit of a tenth of a point there is the angle of the handstand, but the dismount very well is weight, a 9.625. Next vaulter for Illinois. That should be the top scorer of freshman Rutaja Nataraj out of Wallingford, Connecticut. Nataraj was born in India, and after competing, wants to live in Texas. Been all over the United States, been all over the world, lots of traveling for Nataraj, and she had an excellent vault as we have Brenna Hauser, who will be competing next for CMU. Hauser, a junior from Westfield, Indiana, had a very strong 2020 campaign, only competed in 2 meets on the bars last year, and sort of a weird 2021 year. Her career high, a 9.8 on bars, which happened in 2020. Her career high from last year, or I guess season high last year, an 8.075 is Kodas. 9.675, same score as Veglucci, and a 9.8 for Nataraj. So right now, the total score is in favor of Central Michigan. Right now, Illinois at 77. Central Michigan at 77.925, but the biggest thing is these scores really are pointless until you get all of them, because there's 6 competitors in each event. You drop the lowest score, so right now, weight score would get dropped, the 9.625, and Veglucci and or Kodas, whichever one you wanted, would be dropped as well. Brenna Hauser now competing on the bars. Hauser now for the dismount has a little bit of a fall at the end, and that's going to be a score reduction for Hauser, but otherwise a strong performance in the beginning. It's just you wish you would have had that back. But this was excellent, the sort of transfer. Able to keep her body a handstand. You see right there the transition, and they look at it one more time, just a little bit too far out. O'Donnell, who did well on the vault, or did well on the bars, a strong performance on the vault. How well did she do? Well, let's take a look. O'Donnell, one of the players who competes on both. Olivia O'Donnell, a 9.75. We will actually run you through those scores after this event as they're waiting for Adriana Hammond to go for CMU. Actually, we'll run through you those scores now as Hammond is getting ready. We'll start with Illinois. How did they do on the bars, you ask? Rachel Borden, 9.825. Amelia Knight, a 9.225. Mallory Mizuki, a 9.825. Allie Morgan, an 8.875. Olivia O'Donnell, a 9.75. And Mia Takikawa, a 9.525, for a total score of 48.15. Conversely, Central Michigan, it started with the freshman Ava Anthus, who got a 9.725, and Quinn Scrupa with a 9.7, then followed by Sierra DeMarnis' 9.65. That one is subtracted. Elizabeth Cesarone, a 9.75. Hannah Demers, a 9.775, and it ended with Katie Kowalski, a 9.825. Their team total, a 48.775. So they went in with a pretty decent lead over the Fighting Illini as we're waiting for Brenna Hauser's score. Olivia O'Donnell comes in at a 9.8, so it's crucial. It's crucial for Central Michigan to stay in this, as Hammond, a little smile on her face, is with what Hauser did, I imagine her score is going to be lower than the 9.675. So you're having 2 9.675 scores staying. You're going to need big performances from Hammond and Demers. Probably you need Bustelo-type caliber events, because she did excellent, a 9.8. The score has been submitted. 9.125 for Brenna Hauser. I think it just shows how crucial this performance from Hammond is. And that one's going to hurt not only Hammond herself, but the team score falls sort of in that flight when you trying to flip, and she's actually going to go get ready. She's still going to stay around, but that one is going to hurt. It's the same thing that happened with Allie Morgan in her 8.875. As this one is going to come down to that third and fourth rotation. The third rotation sees Central Michigan on the beam and Illinois on the floor, and then it'll flip things around as Hammond back, and that is the biggest thing. The score might not be there, but the finishing touch, and that's the big difference, because with Brenna Hauser getting a 9.125, Hammond still has a chance to get higher than that and sort of eliminate, So this one, very crucial for Hammond to stick the dismount, and a very excellent, well-done dismount. Her score, I would imagine, would be in that 9.2. It'll be around Brenna Hauser's range. I don't know what they value more. The dismount, not so well, but the beginning, very well. Or falling in the middle, but sticking the dismount. That one is going to be a question coming up for Illinois, their last competitor on the vault, Lexi Powell, hoping to pow her way into the lead for Illinois. There she goes. She's the anchor for a reason. Excellent job for Powell on Illinois' team. The junior from Aurora, Colorado. A lot of athletes, gymnasts, any sport, has superstitions. Well, Lexi Powell is no different. She has to eat a banana before the event. Don't ask me why. Don't get me wrong, love bananas, but she has to. Not wants to, not could or could not. Has to eat a banana before her event. And she did well, as we'll wait and see what Powell's score is. She also, her dream is to hold a baby leopard. We'll leave it at that. Her score, a 9.75. So their score is in 48.775 on the event in the vault, with the one subtracted. They'll actually have Julia Waite coming in as an exhibition. Hammond a 9.05. So her score now is dropped, as Brenna Hauser's score is the one that is going to carry weight. Right now, Illinois leads on the event front, and this has given Illinois a lead in the total score. So a 48.775 event score for Illinois, 96.925 total score. Central Michigan at a 9.21, but that can change with Demers' score right here. Strong performance so far. How will the dismount end it? Put a bow on this ribbon. Count it. Hannah Demers, an excellent job on the bars. That's why she's the anchor. One of their best players, one of the best gymnasts, I think, for this Central Michigan team. Probably one. Her and Sierra DeMarinis are a 1A, 1B, I would say. They also have Morgan Tong, who isn't competing today, but last year made nationals on the beam. We actually have one more exhibition, Allie Morgan and Julia Waite. Mia Takikawa. So an excellent job. It is over. The only thing we're waiting for is Hannah Demers' score. This really can change a lot. Right now, about 0.8 of a point separating Central Michigan and Illinois. But if you just do some simple math, the lowest score is going to be in the 9.05. That's going to be dropped. That's Adriana Hammonds. As you see the scores right there, turn it around, turn it around. A 9.7 from one judge. We can't see the other judge. There are two judges that have a score. The other judge had a 9.75. So a 9.725 from Hannah Demers keeps it around. You just got to keep it close. That's all you got to do. Going into the third rotation, halfway done, Central Michigan 96.775. Illinois 96-925. You see the judge right there. The one judge gave a 9-7-0. We head to rotation number 3. Central Michigan on the beam, Illinois on the floor. After this, it's rotation number 3. This is where champions are made. Start of the regular season non-conference action. Central Michigan and Illinois both have high hopes on the season, and it would start with a victory today. This is the Chippewa Sports Network. Welcome back to McGurk Arena. Central Michigan versus Illinois gymnastics meet. First meet of the regular season for both teams. They both have participated in some exhibitions. The Maroon and Gold Showcase, the Blue and Orange Showcase for Illinois. Central Michigan also competed in an exhibition. So we'll take a look at what they had to say about Central Michigan on the beam. I don't want to take credit for sort of this terminology, but in the article that really followed the exhibition, the beam is the interesting one. They have some strong competitors. We saw Adriana Bustello do very well in the bars. A chance to have a very good day on the beam. She is going 3rd. You have Sierra DeMarnis, who's going 6th, that anchor. The big thing is consistency with this team, and it starts on the beam. Can they be consistent? Maybe some more specifics. Katie Kowalowski, Ashley Veglucci, Sierra DeMarnis, they competed in that exhibition. Katie Kowalowski had sort of a unique handstand which turned into the full twist dismount. So something to watch out for. Sierra DeMarnis that's actually Ashley Veglucci on the beam right now. Big thing with Ashley Veglucci is having sort of the balance issues where she's able to stay on a strong balance, but it's clearly that you can see sort of the trying to stay on. You want to avoid that as much as possible, but worst thing you could do is fall off. So if you're Veglucci, you're okay with that. Here is Sierra DeMarnis now getting some practice. Sierra DeMarnis has a lot to prove this year. Morgan Tong is arguably, no, I don't think it's arguably, I think it's safe to say Morgan Tong is the strongest Chippewa gymnast on the beam, not competing today. Who steps up as that anchor? Who is the anchor of this team? And right now, they're relying on Sierra DeMarnis, and that is what they're going to have to do. They're very good on the floor. It's their best event. They will not disappoint. How do they do on the beam? Can they stay within fighting distance of Illinois? That is the question. That's what you're looking for. Beam is quite an interesting event. There's 5 sort of requirements. It's safe to say you call them requirements that you have to complete. You have to do the acro series. You have to do the dance series, a jump or a leap, at least 180 degrees, a full turn from that group 3, and then obviously the dismount. So they are getting ready. We're about 45 seconds away as Illinois is getting ready on the floor. They're led by Caitlin Ewald, Abby Mueller, Mia Takikawa, Olivia O'Donnell, and Olivia Boseman. So if there was a color who was more creative, I would think of a nickname for the 2 Olivias, like O squared. That doesn't sound good. But Olivia O'Donnell and Olivia Boseman. We talked about O'Donnell. Boseman, the freshman from Frankfort, Illinois, started in 2010, and a big fan of Post Malone. Can't really blame her. Under 10 seconds to go. The Fighting Illini, the Chippewas, rotation number 3. Illinois has a lead, but can Central Michigan stay around? I don't know if that's the best word. So there is no relation. We talked about it earlier, but the Muellers are going first. Amber versus Abby. The game within the game. Amber Mueller for Central Michigan starting right now on the beam. Mueller, the sophomore from Wheaton, Illinois, got a 9.9 on the beam at the CMU quad last year. wants to go into pre-occupational therapy and loves a good old sweet iced tea. So here's that flip over 180 degrees, the flight, and that was pretty spectacular. Now she will go into the dance sort of section, a little choreography. You got to sort of treat the judges on either side. So you'll see them occasionally look to the left and right of them. A balance check there for Mueller, and now she will go into what more than likely is going to be the dismount. Amber Mueller, another one, and is unable to stay on, which is crucial because that first flip was so strong that this could have been a very good score. Hurts the Chippewas, but now can she fight through the mental side of gymnastics and get into the dismount? Here she goes on the dismount, has a little bit of a step out, but nonetheless, strong performance. Had a little fall in the middle of the routine, and we'll wait and see her score. So one Mueller is done, one Mueller is going. Abby Mueller for Illinois. The other Mueller, a sophomore. From Rochester, Minnesota. Got a 9.85 on the floor. While Amber is going into pre-occupational therapy, Abby is going into elementary education. I'll be honest, the floor is always my favorite, just because it's a lot of fun. They love to get into it. Here's one of two tumbling passes that you have to do in this routine. One there is successful. Mueller will now attempt the second one. Running towards us, a little bit of a rebound there, but otherwise a strong tumbling pass nonetheless. Now the little bit of flair that goes with this, sort of back and forth. We haven't gotten the score yet on the first Mueller, but I think it's safe to say that Abby Mueller takes the cake on the battle for the better Mueller. Now, we don't know if there is a cousin relation. One's from Minnesota, the other's from Illinois. We don't know that. What we do know is they're not sisters. I can confirm that thanks to the sort of Illinois gymnastics website. But next, 9.175 for Amber Mueller. Second competitor on the beam, Alacia Kolivanova, a junior from Iowa City, Iowa, transferred in from Kirkland Community College, used to compete at Air Force before taking a year at Kirkland CC, now in Mount Pleasant. So started in Iowa City, Iowa, went to Colorado, came back to Iowa, and now just moving to the East Coast. Interesting choice. I think if I had the choice, I'd be trying to go West Coast. But it's where can you get the best education and athletics, and Central Michigan is her home. Kolivanova, the second gymnast on the beam for CMU. .9.175 was the score for Amber Mueller. Biggest reason, was because of the fall in the middle of the routine. And if you're Central Michigan, that's the score that I think you want to avoid. You want that score to be the one that's dropped. We're still waiting on Abby Mueller's going into the dismount. Great dismount for Kolivanova. Gets extra cheers from her team. Looking at that dismount one more time, prepares herself by still moving. There is sort of a concentration penalty. If you take up to more than 2 seconds not moving anything, you can get penalized for that. And she does a nice job on the dismount. So Kolivanova starts the beam. Takikawa on the floor. Takikawa has a 9.85 on the floor. Also, she has 8 titles, none of them on the floor. So, I don't know if I'd say her worst event by any stretch of the imagination. Obviously one of the better gymnasts, but this is one that you have something to prove, as there's the first tumble pass. Excellent, and that one can really be, I think, a big motivator into the rest of the routine, as Abby Mueller score 9.75. Here goes Takikawa. Strong performance so far. How do you end it? What's the flair? How do you do it? And a big score update from Central Michigan. Alicia Kolivanova gets a 9.8. So that ties Bustello on the bars. That's the top score that we've seen so far from Central Michigan. While Takikawa is getting ready, let's tell you about the coaching staffs for both teams. First, the visiting Illinois Fighting Illini, led by Natalie Walsh. Her 5th season, has been a head coach at Utah State, Ball State, and her alma mater, Wisconsin Oshkosh. Also has 3 children, assisted by Caitlin Betts, Stephen Buckner, and Rachel Donovan, all in their 3rd season. Donovan in his 1st season, as Takikawa finishes a strong routine. And speaking of strong routines, Adriana Bustello, Mason, Ohio alum, coming to Mount Pleasant at a 9.8 on the bars. How can she use that momentum, carry that into her other performance on the beam? Bustello competed in all nine events in the MAC last year. There goes Bustello, a beautiful performance. That'll get cheers from the Chippewa faithful, and that can really be, I think, a momentum builder as you start to see how can the momentum carry into the dismount and the performance. And every time she does something well, this is the best part, cheers from the entire team. Everyone, even the person going next, is right there to make sure Bustello knows that this team is proud. Beautiful. That'll just get more cheers. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And now we get into the dismount section of the routine. Adriana Bustello did the full turn, did the jumper leap. Now it's time for the dismount. She's preparing, staring at sort of the end of the beam, and there she goes into the dismount. Smiles on her faces, cheers, and she'll get cheers from the entire team. Embraces. There's Taylor Pitchell right there in your screen in the white sort of windbreaker quarter zip. Not competing today, but an upperclassman that has shown that she can be a viable option for this Central Michigan team. That was the biggest part of the routine right there, the sort of jump and the flip. Again, another one. You can just, couple of times that you have seen her ability as Takikawa follows up Abby Mueller with a little one of her own. Anything you can do, I can do. The exact same, as she gets a 9.75. Olivia O'Donnell, 3rd participant on the floors. We'll wait and see Bustello's score. Always the most awkward moment, waiting for the audio to play, and she's just kind of standing there. A lot of emotions running through O'Donnell as she gets ready. O'Donnell has competed in both events so far. This is her 3rd, a 9.8 on the vault, a 9.75 on the bars. O'Donnell, the junior from Evanston, Illinois. Her best event is on the bars, but 9.825, she really, last year, she didn't do floor. So it's like, how can you get your top gymnasts in every event? Because you only have 24 spots, only 20 scores, as Adriana Bustello gets a 9.8. So right now, if Kolowski, Veglucci, and Demernis, the final 3 competitors for Central Michigan, you're okay with Amber Mueller, because right now that's the biggest thing. You don't have room to make those key errors, because Amber Mueller has the 9.175, and if you're Central Michigan, right now it's 2.98s. So that was very well. A little bit more about Olivia O'Donnell. Has two brothers named Sam and Simon, and I think the biggest thing that we all can relate to, hates slow walkers. I mean, who doesn't? O'Donnell, fast-paced, not only in the streets, but on the floor. Olivia O'Donnell just finished her performance. We'll wait and see her score, but until then, Katie Kowalowski. Katie Kowalowski has the privilege of the top score on the vault, a 9.825. How can she follow that up? On the bars, the top two performances were Borden and Mizuki, both at 9.825s, followed by Bustello. In the vault, it was Central Michigan's Katie Kowalowski, and then Nataraj and O'Donnell for Illinois. But how can Kowalowski do? Really helped this team on the vaults. And now if you're the coaching staff, this is sort of the part where it's a little bit of a sigh of relief, as that one jump is the big, difficult jump that you want to put in so that your score, your threshold of score can sort of raise a little bit. It starts at a 9.4, but then as you get more difficult events and jumps and stuff, here is the dismount. Great dismount from Kowalowski. And through 4 beam participants for CMU, they are doing very well. Replay straight up. That is something they're looking for, the position and are the feet separated. The feet were not separated on that replay shot that we just saw, and the dismount was there for Central Michigan. Still waiting on the score from Olivia O'Donnell, 9.7 by one judge. Can't see what the other judge gave because of all of the Illinois gymnasts right in front of me sort of blocking the score. 9.7 for Olivia O'Donnell. So O'Donnell with the 9.7, Mueller and Takikawa 9.75. Did you think of any Olivia-themed nicknames yet? Nope. Okay, Olivia Bozeman is ready, a freshman making her first regular season debut. It'll be Amelia Knight and Julia Waite after 5 and 6 for Illinois, Veglucci and Demernis for CMU. I think the biggest thing, and one judge gave Kowalowski a 9.8. Can't see what the other judge gave, but a 9.8. So back to back to back. 9.8 for this Central Michigan team. It started with Alicia Kolpanova, then followed up by Adriana Bustello and the trifecta, Katie Kowalowski. And if you're head coach Christine McDonald, you have to be happy. Speaking of, let's take a look at the coaching staff for Central Michigan. Christine McDonald, a former assistant coach and player. She has coached 7 MAC Senior Gymnasts of the Year, 7 MAC Freshman of the Year, and has coached 69 conference champions, assisted by Don Holton, who has been around the block, was a head coach at Nebraska, head coach or assistant coach at Yale, California, and Arkansas. From 2011 to 2019, he was an assistant coach with IGI Gymnastics in Westmont, Illinois. Also, Katie Clements, third year as assistant coach, was a former player, native of Gainesville, Georgia. Both teams have 2 participants left. Veglucci for CMU. Veglucci had a 9.675 on the bars. And this could be sort of this could be really the turning point of this meet. Because Central Michigan is so strong on the floor, the consistency issues have been from the beam, and 3 of the 6 have done 9.8. Pretty good. How does Veglucci do? And I don't think our camera got it, but after she hit that, gave sort of a wink or a nod to the team, because I have to imagine that's maybe something that she's been working on. And they have to be excited. And that can really carry the momentum as you get throughout the entire routine for Central Michigan, and Veglucci, the junior from Coram, New York, St. John the Baptist alum. Got a 9.85 on the beams against NIU. That was her career high. And now getting ready to go into the dismount. Could tie. It's a nice little present is the beam routine. Put the bow on it, tie the bow. Here she goes. A little step forward to keep her from falling. That'll be about a 1/10 of a point off, but could be a lot worse. Great prep, both feet hitting the beam at really the same time. That was a nice twist for Veglucci. We'll wait and see Veglucci's score. Bozeman's score comes in at a 9.625. So if you subtract Bozeman and subtract Mueller, what it looks like, Central Michigan 3.98s, Illinois 2.975s, and 1.97. Julia Waite, the junior from Naperville, Illinois. Athleticism does not stop with her in the family. Julia Waite's sister, Lindsay, is a cheerleader at the University of Michigan. Favorite movie, Christmas Vacation. Favorite baseball player is Anthony Rizzo. Have to think she was a little bit crushed when he was traded to the New York Yankees. But the thing I found most interesting, and I had to try it for myself, she has the same song that she listens to before the meet, Burn the House Down by AJR. I bet you can't guess what song I listen to driving in a car into the arena. Burn the House Down by AJR. Very good song. Pretty, not shocked, but kind of funny that this wasn't the song that she would choose for her floor routine. But if you haven't listened to AJR, you get Caleb Frank's personal recommendation. Julia Waite doing a nice job in the floor routine. Strong finish for Waite. We'll get extra cheers from the Fighting Illini. As Veglucci's score just came in, she also got a 9.625, like Bozeman. And compared, it's not the greatest score, but I think that it is a good score when you look at what you got from Kolivanova, Bustello, and Kowalowski, each getting 9.8s. If you can follow that with Sierra DeMarnis, who ends up on the floor, so they had the 3.98s, and as I was talking, Sierra DeMarnis fell down on probably one of the more easier parts of the routine, was able to get back up. How can she battle? That's what you're looking for. Here's going to be the flip that has to be at least 180 degrees. And she clears it, so you just want to keep as many points as you can on the board and hope that you get higher than a 9.175 so you can keep the score. As the score came in for Amelia Knight, 9.825. Excellent dismount from DeMarnis. That was the anchor spot for Central Michigan. She did have a fall towards the beginning of the routine, but did a nice job sort of bouncing back. Was able to stick the landing. Last competitor, Waite. Allie Morgan will be competing exhibition style, so her score won't be tallied in terms of the entire team score. And this one is interesting. It's always nice because these gymnastics competitions are very close. It's less than a point between the two teams. So after this, we'll get one more exhibition from Allie Morgan and then transition into the fourth rotation, which sees Illinois on the beam and Central Michigan on the floor. Central Michigan, a career 2-12 record against the Fighting Illini in their team's history. A chance to sort of get a big sort of victory in the first meet of the year. Still waiting on Demernis' score. A 9.075 for Demernis, so her score will be the one that does not count. Mueller's score counts at a 9.175, their event score a 48.2, and the score of 144.975. On the flip side, if Waite's score is less than 9.625, is what Bozeman got, Illinois would finish 145.575. So about a half a point lead for Illinois, but if she can get higher, she can sort of carry that lead. We'll get Brenna Hauser on an exhibition. The junior from Westfield, Indiana. Each team will have one participant with the exhibition. Strong performance. And obviously there's a lot to look at than just one performance. I mean, there's so much, but if you are looking as maybe more of a casual, you see the Kolivanova, Adriana Bucello, and Katie Kowalski getting 9.8s. I don't think they have to worry. Veglucci a 9.625, but then Mueller with a 9.175 and Demernis at a 9.75. If you have someone who, like a Brenna Hauser, can come in and do well, it's always nice to force competition in your starting six. You don't want just 6 competitors the entire year. You want the 7 and 8 and 9 to be pushing 5 and 6 to potentially force a beam off. I don't know if they call it a beam off, but they should. Because Brenna Hauser proving that she should be in that top 6. Junior year is always an interesting year in every sport and in every life, because it's the transition between being an underclassman and sort of being more of a leader as an upperclassman role. Very good dismount for Hauser and the Chippewas. Unfortunately for them, it's not going to count as Ellie Morgan. Last exhibition. We will get a score from Brenna Hauser. It won't count for the team scores, but we will be able to compare it to what the first 6 gymnasts did. And this one's going to hurt for Central Michigan, because I see one judge has a 9.75 on my end, which is already higher. So it would have been the 4th highest event competitor. But it was the 3 gymnasts for CMU who got 9.8s, really is keeping them around. And you have to be satisfied going into the last event, as weight score was a 9.325, so that was the one that is getting dropped. So your team score, as we watch Ellie Morgan, you see right there, going into the 4th event, Central Michigan 144.975, Illinois 145.575. Central Michigan's top event is the floor. There's about a 0.6 of a difference between Central Michigan and Illinois, which means one of 2 things needs to happen, and you don't want to root for anybody to fall off the beam, but either Illinois has to have a couple of falls, a couple of 9.1s, 9s, 9.2s, or Central Michigan consistently has to be 1 point above each Fighting Illini. It's pretty fascinating to watch as Central Michigan heads to the floor, Illinois heads to the beam. Rotation number 4 coming up here on the Chippewa Sports Network. in this event, and it's really led by Hannah Demers and Sierra Demernis, those two that are 5th and 6th competitors for Central Michigan. But it starts on the beam for Illinois, Rachel Borden, and for CMU, Alacia Kolivanova for the Chippewas leading things off. Got a 9-8 on the floor, and Rachel Borden. The Borden family is, let's just say they have gymnastics in their blood. Borden, older sister Natalie, is currently a gymnast at the University of Penn. The other strong gymnastics connection, she's not going to compete today, but Leah Kamechek. There are a couple of connections. One is she and Rachel Borden. This is a great time because Rachel Borden is off, but Rachel Borden and Leah Kamechek went to high school about 5 miles from each other. So they know each other on the mat, on the beam, and off it as well. But Leah's sister, Keely Kamechek, was a gymnast at Oklahoma from 2013 to 2016. Had a perfect 10.0 on bars. First athlete to sweep the podium. She helped Oklahoma win a national championship, has 3 sisters. Wonder who the 3rd and 4th sister are that aren't gymnasts. One at Central Michigan, one competed at Oklahoma, and her dream, this is Leah, her dream was to go from a Maloney to an immediate ball or an uprise on the bars. And in high school, think about this is Leah Kamechek, the freshman from Naperville, not Rachel Borden competing. Kamechek had a playlist in high school called Fired Up. Is that foreshadowing or what? Here's the dismount from Rachel Borden. Sticks the landing. Not falls, but runs off, and we will wait her score as Alacia Kolivanova, the first participant, for the Chippewas. Received a 9.8 score on the beam. That is currently the highest beam score. And we will let you know when Borden's score comes in. And I think you just assume that none of the Fighting Illini are going to fall. You never know what can happen. But we will tell you Borden's score and then sort of give you a clue on what Kolivanova needs to really get. And they're down 0.6. They're down 0.6 of a point from Illinois. This is their best event. So can they get about 1 point or 1/10 of a point better in each of the 6? That's what you're going to have to find out. And really, now that I'm thinking about it, it has to be more because you dropped the 10th score. So they're going to need strong performances from Demers, and right now, Kolivanova. The first floor routine for Central Michigan coming to an end. The second beam participant will be Mallory Mizuki as she is getting ready with head coach Natalie Walsh. But Kolivanova stands up and gets a big embrace from Taylor Pitchell. And big embrace, I mean big embrace. Lots of hugs as Mizuki is waiting on Rachel Borden's score, a 9.45 on one end. So one judge gives Borden a 9.45. And we will wait to see the other score. Watching it in like slow motion as the scorekeeper puts up the scores. The first digit was a 9. We expected 3.75. So a 9.375 for Borden. Right now, that's probably going to be the score that they drop. But opening the door for Kolivanova, because that was, I would say, a 9.7-ish range, something around there if I had to guess. Here is Mizuki. Didn't compete in 2019 or 2020. A 9.8 in the exhibition in the beam. Mizuki wants to work in the CIA. Fun fact about her also, can play the French horn. So from one high school band player to another. Respect. As Mizuki. Respect to Mizuki on the beam as well. No way I could do that, even if I tried. As now Mizuki really, with that 9.375 that Borden got, it is crucial that the rest of the Fighting Illini have strong performances. Mizuki in the dismount. And that was a strong dismount. That is a good first score. Obviously the first score from Borden, a 9.375. But a good score to sort of be the staple to go as we are waiting on Kolivanova's score on her first floor. One judge gave her a 9.7, the other a 9.75. Quick math, 9.725 from Kolivanova. What'd we say? A tenth of a point better in each event. From 9.375 to 9.725, that is a +4. So now, Central Michigan only down 0.2 of a point. Ava Anthus, seems like an eternity ago when she competed in the vault. Not really, but Anthus left sort of the area, the apparatus where of the floor. That's going to hurt her. But the freshman from Ludington, favorite movie is The Princess Bride. I'll be honest, not the only, but the biggest part is the whole cup thing, one's poison, one's not, spin around. You know what I'm talking about. That is her favorite movie. Wonder if that's her favorite part. A freshman first regular season action, any action for Ava Anthus right now. Getting the crowd involved. Mizuki received a 9.825 on the beam. That is going to be tough to beat. How does Ava Anthus respond? Needs a strong finish because of the strong score from Mizuki. Hand to the sky, fired up, literally, and they will wait to see her score. We now head to the third beam as you get a replay before of Ava Anthus. Abby Mueller, career high in 9.825 on the beam. She did that in an exhibition. So Mizuki just hit her career high on the beam. Got a 9.825. Her career high originally was a 9.8. So Mizuki, the first Fighting Illini on the beam to get her career high. And that's what you want if you're Illinois. Just keep the Chippewas away. And it was the second and third rotation that really did it. It was really the second rotation. You could also argue the beam really struggled. You had 3 9.8s, but then it was the other three performances. And consistency. That is what is crucial to the Chippewas being successful. 9.65 is one score that I'm seeing for Ava Anthus. And we will wait for the second score. A 9.6, so a 9.625 from Ava Anthus. Honestly, not the worst thing in the world. I thought it would have been a little lower, but a little bit of the benefit of the doubt as Mueller ends her routine, as we now move to Katie Kowalowski, who Kowalowski had a 9.825 on the vault and a 9.8 on the beam. Has had two strong performances, the trifecta. There are a lot of Chippewas. Hannah Demers is the first one that comes to mind that does all four and gets a all-around score. Not today. It's still early. You want to get as many gymnasts, I think, some regular season action as you can. So here's Katie Kowalowski, her third event. Has had two strong performances so far. She was first team All-MAC last year in the vaults. and doesn't have a career high on floor, so this is sort of new territory for her. She has 4 first-place finishes on the vault, though, not on the floor of the beam, and she seemed to be doing a pretty good job for the Chippewas. A 9.775 for Abby Mueller. Anthus actually got a 9.525. Correction on that, by the way. So with a 9.825 and a 9.775, if you're Kowalowski and you're just doing some simple math, getting into the 9.8s is going to be very important. And she sort of falls there, was unable to get it, and that is going to hurt. But Katie Kowalowski probably going to be around that 9.5 area that Anthus is. You got to wonder what is going to be a more deduction of points, leaving the square area, the apparatus, or hitting that fall as you look at a replay of Kowalowski one more time. The 9.825 on the vault and the 9.8 on the beam, sort of getting used to the floor routine. Central Michigan trying to find as much consistency and depth as you possibly can. As you now move 3 competitors to go from each event. There are a couple exhibitions, but in terms of team scoring, 3 left and 4. Illinois, Mia Towns. Towns has a career high 9.875 on the beam. A big fan of the wide receiver of the Rams, Odell Beckham Jr. Wanted to say Browns. I don't know why. I know he plays for the Rams. So Mia Towns, a fan of Odell Beckham Jr. This beautiful Sunday afternoon rotation number 4. The National Football League ends the regular season today. Illinois Gymnastics and Central Michigan, for that matter, start their season today. So kind of a cool little parallel, one sport ending their season, one sport beginning their season. That's kind of cool. Both teams will participate in a variety of meets throughout the year. I said this at the open, but these 2 schools will actually meet each other again, as there is the dismount from Towns. Central Michigan and Illinois, joined by NIU, Northern Illinois, and Boise State, will meet March 4th in Illinois' campus, the Fighting Illini. And Katie Kowalowski in 8.975. So if you're Central Michigan, I would imagine that's the score that you drop, and you need 9.8s or better from Veglucci, Demers, and Sierra DeMarinis. But here's Ashley Veglucci. 2 struggling performances so far, 9.675 on bars, a 9.625 on beam. This would be a great chance to carry maybe some momentum into the next meet. Speaking of, let's take a look. Let's tell you about what Central Michigan is up to. It is going to be almost a full month, actually more than a month, before they are right here in McGurk Arena. They head to Eastern Michigan, Bowling Green, and Ball State. The next 3 weekends, January 14th in Eastern, January 21st at BG, and January 30th at Ball State at a tri-meet. Then they go to Kentucky on a Friday, so 4 straight weekends. Then they return home. It's pretty much every weekend. I'm realizing that now. MAC Championships, March 19th at Eastern Michigan. Then the Regional Championships, March 31st through April 2nd. So a fun and exciting season that will take a couple of months. And how will Ashley Veglucci and the Chippewas do? Well, they have high expectations, and Veglucci she hopes that she can get a higher than a 9.6, because that's what she got in her first 2 performances. She's happy based on the giant smile on her face, runs off getting sort of like a tunnel of all the Chippewa teammates. Replay of it one more time. Towns received a 9.775. Consistency. None of these scores are great. I think a big number is that 9.8. I think anything lower than a 9.8 is not a struggle, but it's something to keep watch of. So we will await some scores for you. Ashley Veglucci what I was saying is the consistency of Illinois is why they're leading. They had 9.825 and two 9.775s. Compared, you look at Central Michigan, United 9.7, a 9.5, and 8.9. So it's really all over the place. And so I think that is what you have. There are pieces. And Central Michigan has high stakes in this. And they are playing a Power 5 school. We have seen Central Michigan sports teams in the past do well against Power 5s. You know I'm talking about the Central Michigan football team. And you want to be able to get, I wouldn't even call it an upset, but you want to get that win. And you're getting to face Big Ten competition that at the regionals, this is the sort of competition you're going to face. So it's really a strong start to the year. Getting an Illinois team to come to Mount Pleasant is always crucial. We've had a couple of Power 5 universities coming to Mount Pleasant, and Illinois is no different. They actually had some trouble with the scoring mechanism. The second digit wouldn't work. And a 9.875 for Ashley Veglucci. So that is the top score in the floor, and they have two more They have two more gymnasts who I think are the two strongest gymnasts for this team. Hannah Demers. I really enjoy Hannah Demers' floor routine music start. If any of you have the Beats speaker that makes that noise when it turns on, and you all know what I'm talking about, that's how it starts. As her toe stepped on sort of what only can be described as the out of bounds area. There's a giant yellow square. You have to stay in it. And her jump or flip kind of took her a little bit farther. But that's how Demers starts. And you always get a little bit scared because you think that that's the actual speaker not working. No, it's just Demers' warm-up. There are a lot of interesting song selection choices. When BG comes here, Bowling Green, the Falcons, every one of their routines starts with a Falcon screech. That's all we're going to say. We're moving on to Hannah Demers' floor routine. The junior from Canton, Michigan, qualified for the NCAA championships on the bars, got a 9.925 at regionals to place fourth, and was the MAC winner. First team All-MAC in floor, bars, and all around. She was a three-time Gymnast of the Week, and her career high is a 9.95 on the floor. Don't think she's getting that today, but very good performer. Most of the time, she's doing all four events. So not shocking that you're starting a year that you don't put her on the beam, but the beam is the event that, hey, anybody can do it because they've had some struggles there. It's a little bit inconsistent, but Demers had a strong finish. And we have the final beam gymnast for Illinois. They will have Ashley Reyes doing an exhibition, but it's Maya Takikawa. Takikawa. We talked about her feat earlier. First Illinois gymnast to ever win Big Ten Player and Freshman of the Week in the same week. Wants to travel to Italy and has a secret skill. Punny Instagram captions. I don't know if it's a secret skill. I made up that's a secret skill. She says she has some of the best punny IG captions. And when you were first team All Big Ten, I wonder what her caption was. Not only am I not good at punny IG captions, I'm worse at punny IG captions on the spot. So we'll stick to her. We'll let Takikawa come up with the funny captions, as she is 6 of 6. And with the exception of Rachel Borden's 9.375, we've had 9.825, two 9.775s, and a 9.75. And this one should be a strong performance. And I think that Illinois is going to go home, leaving Mount Pleasant with a victory. Sierra DeMarinis, even if she were to get a perfect 10, I think it would be a little bit too little too late. Demers gets a 9.575, which is second lowest behind Anthus, so her score will count. Illinois set their program record last year in their last event of the year. 197.575. They're not going to get there today, as they're at the 194 range. I think they have a chance to get to 194.5 if Takikawa was able to get a 9.8. And for Central Michigan, you might be able to get to 193. We'll see. Right now they're at 192.65. And I didn't see the Kowalowski's 8-9. That one is going to get dropped. So as long as Demernis can stay in the 9.7, 9.8 range, Central Michigan should get it to 193, which is a very good starting score. As Takikawa's a 9.85 from one judge. And they're actually going to have a discussion. First time we've seen that. Two judges, they average their two scores. And they actually have a discussion about Takikawa's performance. One judge gave a 9.85. As Sierra Demernis finishes the floor routine, we'll get two exhibitions. Reyes for Illinois, Buttle for Central Michigan. The replay showing on the video board, getting some extra cheers. But Elizabeth Buttle, we have not talked about her at all. The sophomore from Shaftesbury, Vermont, had a 9.75 on floor at BGSU last year. That is her high. Her career high is a 9.8. A four-time Level 10 state championship qualifier, Mount Anthony Union alum. As now the third judge has intervened, has gotten in and talked with the other two judges who are comparing scores. You see right there, the two judges on the right are the scoring judges. The one on the left, the head judge, if you would have to, I think, describe it. More of just wandering, making sure the little things, like did they stay in bounds? Did their toe brush up against the bar? Stuff like that, that is a deduction that maybe from where the judge is sitting, you might not see. So we did get the Demernis score of a 9.75. Now that'll wrap things up for Central Michigan. They finished the event with a 48.45 and a total score of 193.425. So it isn't going to be enough. Even if Takikawa's score is a 0, Illinois is going to win. If Takikawa's score is in fact around that 9.85 range, they will have beaten Central Michigan by a full point. Just something to sort of look at. But now we can take a look at the event scores for all of the meets for Central Michigan. So their best was the bars, a 48.8, really led by Adriana Bustello. Their second best, floor, 48.45. Actually, their bars was their worst. Sorry. Floor, 48.45 is their second best. Their vault was their best, led by Katie Kowalowski's 9.825. They got 48.2 on the beam and a 48 flat on the bars. Illinois has a 48.775 on the vault. So identical scores on the vault, by the way. Their floor score was a 48.65. Their bars was a 48.1. And the beam right now, a 48.5. Minus the score of Takikawa. Because Borden is a 9.37, just if we put Takikawa at a 9.775, just for argument's sake, that's a 48.9. Pretty good. Pretty good. Still discussing. It's been about a couple of minutes now. One judge breaking. They're both going to break. You saw the 9.85 right there on the screen, and I think the issue that they were discussing is what was the starting number. You start at a 9.4. That is the starting value that you can get. then there are certain requirements of difficulties that you have to perform that can get your score up, and that is what they were discussing. And they go from a 9.85 to a 9.45 because the starting number dropped down to a 9.6. You see right there, the red is not the score. The 9.6 was the starting number before all of the deductions. So a 9.45 is Takikawa's score, 194.15 the final score for Illinois. So Takikawa, brilliant performance, but the difficulty was not there and is the reason why Central Michigan falls to Illinois by only less than a point. So now that we have all of the results in that are team scores, I'm going to tell you the top scores from each team in each event. So for the Chippewas, we'll go top 5. Elizabeth Cicerone was a 9.75. Hannah Demers, a 9.775. Olivia O'Donnell, a 9.8 for Illinois. Number 2 is Rutuja Nataraj, the freshman, 9.8. And Katie Kowalowski, a 9.825. On the uneven parallel bars, Demers, a 9.725 for Central. Olivia O'Donnell, a 9.75 for Illinois. Adriana Bustello, a 9.8 for Central Michigan. But it was Mallory Mizuki and Rachel Borden, 9.825s for the Fighting Illini. They haven't put in the scores yet for the floor and the beams. For the other, I can tell you Alicia Kolivanova, Adriana Bustello, and Katie Kowalowski have 9.8s, and Amelia Knight had a 9.825 for the floor exercise. Veglucci right now has the highest score on floor, and it's Mizuki with the highest score on beam. So here's Elizabeth Buttle, the sophomore, like we talked about. This will end when her floor routine is done. That will end gymnastics meet. Illinois goes on 194.15 to Central Michigan's 193.42. Central Michigan is headed to Eastern Michigan next, as they will look to, I wouldn't even call it bounce back. It's the first meet of the year. Yes, you are concerned with how Illinois is doing, but it's not like you're going to see Illinois anytime soon. You will see them March 5th. And as one MAC school, Illinois, heads to Kent State and Northern Illinois, that tri-meet in Kent, Ohio, before getting into Big Ten play. Nebraska, Penn State, Minnesota, Michigan State, the Big 5 meet in Toledo, Ohio. Then they head to Missouri. They end their regular season Big Ten championships March 19th this year are in Iowa City, Iowa, and the NCAA regionals. So Elizabeth Buttle rounding things out, a 9.65 for Ashley Reesch. In comparison, it would have improved their score because Borden would have been swapped out. You put in Reesch's 9.65. Takikawa's is the score that gets subtracted. So it's really about a 1/10 of a point. So we'd like to thank you for tuning in to the first regular season gymnastics meet between the Central Michigan Chippewas and the Illinois Fighting Illini, as the meet has concluded. Illinois walking off the McGurk Arena, so is Central Michigan. We will wait to get the final score for Elizabeth Buttle, and then we will wrap things up here from McGurk Arena, the good old-fashioned social distance good game. Thank you. It's in play, but you heard the good games behind me. Demers, those two really did well today, but I think the gymnast of the meet for Central Michigan has to go to Adriana Bustello. The 9.8 on the bars really kept it close and kept them there as fans are dispersing throughout McGurk Arena. A big crowd. It is also, there's only one side of McGurk that they're sitting on, but still a big crowd, as a 9.5 for Elizabeth Buttle. So that will wrap things up from Mount Pleasant, Michigan. Thank you so much for tuning in, and once again, apologies for the technical difficulties, and as always, fire up, Chips.